That's a pounce.
A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, which would go on to be adapted into one of the most beloved TV series of all time, Game of Thrones, is set in a complicated world full of wonder and mystery. A key part of this is the fauna of the world of Ice and Fire. Everything from extinct animals such as dire wolves and non-avian dinosaurs, to mythical creatures such as dragons, apes big enough to kill an elephant with one punch, and vampire bats the size of humans. There are even several fictional races of humans, from fish people to lemur-like people. In honor of the new Game of Thrones spin-off show, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and as a huge fan of the book series and TV show myself, I figured I would take a deep dive into a little-known part of the world of Ice and Fire's lore. It's cats. Many different cats are referenced in A Song of Ice and Fire, and some even appear on the pages. But what is their evolutionary and natural history? How would a Westerosi zoologist classify them? This video is heavily inspired by Trey the Explainer's Anthropology of Game of Thrones, so please check that video out if you haven't already. Trust me, it's worth it. The lion is one of the most important animals in human history. So why should it be any different in Westeros? In addition to House Lannister, the lion has been found on 10 other different Westerosi sigils. The castle of Casterly Rock is said to resemble the shape of a lion during sunset, and Casterly Rock was once even home to wild lions itself. Royals of the Westerlands, the lands of Westeros, where lions once inhabited, are often referred to as lions. Think the old lion, the toothless lion, the lioness, and on it goes. The founder of House Casterly, before the Lannisters and the Andali invasion, was a huntsman and a herder. In order to save his sheep, he killed a livestock-eating lion and its mate. He spared the cubs, and was thus rewarded by the old gods with the gold of Casterly Rock for his mercy. When Tytos Lannister, also known as the Toothless Lion for his tolerance and maybe even a little bit of his stupidity, the father of Tywin, was attacked by an angry lioness, his kennel master saved his life, losing 3 hounds and a leg in the effort. He would be knighted as the first member of House Clegane, and the 3 dogs who gave their lives would be honored in his sigil. His line, including the Hound and the Mountain, will be loyal to the Lannisters for generations.
Fuck the king.
Many kings of the Rock would also own lions. Cersei even recalls a time during the rule of her grandfather, Lord Tytos, when Jaime saved her from an angry lion. During the reign of Lorien Lannister, 3 of his captive lions were allegedly cursed and they broke free, killing several of his sons. However, by the time of the main series, lions are described as nearly, if not completely, gone from their range in Westeros. Cave lions, which the first men were said to have called on to fight on their behalf, are also seemingly gone. Similar to how lions are only found in the shadow of their former range on Earth, with lions inhabiting the Balkans during the time of Jesus, the same can be said for Planetos. While Westerosi lions may be gone, if one looks to the east, there are lions in abundance. While it's unknown if lions actually live in Slaver's Bay, they're a common sight in the menageries and the fighting pits, with Tyrion and Daenerys both seeing them. Across Essos, especially in E.T., there is a deity known as the Lion of the Night, a man with a lion's head, and it's often worshipped. The most unique of the Essosi lions is the Harakar, a massive white lion found in the Dothraki Sea. In the books, Khal Drogo slays a Harakar and gives its pelt to Daenerys as a gift. The Dothraki Sea is a notoriously harsh environment, one with baking summers and frigid winters. Its large size and its white coat are probably adaptations for survival in the ice and snow. In my illustration of the Harakar, I gave it long legs similar to a maned wolf for seeing over the tall grass, and cheetah-like tear marks to help it see over long distances in the sun. It also has a longer tail to reach over the grass, because tails and the tufts on them are apparently very vital in lion communication. So where did lions evolve? In my opinion, all cats on Planetos likely evolved on the continent of Essos. This is where the most varieties are found and seem to originate. The common ancestor of lions and cave lions, which are actually separate species by the way, likely crossed over the mountains of Braavos and through the Vale, going extinct through much of their range during the Andal invasion, but holding out in the Westerlands. Cave lions would be found in northern latitudes and common lions in the south. The lions of the Westerlands would eventually cross the Arm of Dorne, returning into Essos and eventually making their way as far east as the Dothraki Sea, Maybe even further, we don't know if Yeti still has any lions, despite them worshipping a lion god, so we're not really quite sure there. The largest cat left in Westeros, the shadow cat, has been much more fortunate. Shadow cats are described as being shy creatures, rarely attacking humans unless they're weak or injured. They can be found everywhere from the frozen wastelands beyond the Wall, to the Riverlands, the Vale, and even as far south as the Red Mountains of Dorne. These seemingly cold weather cats may seem odd to find in the desert, but remember that even snow leopards can and do survive in desert environments. Shadow cats may also be found in Essos, as implied by the story of Mateno of Lys and his man-eating shadow cat, but we're not really sure. The children of the forest built their homes in the trees, allegedly to protect themselves from shadow cats. And beyond the Wall, many different skin changers, or wargs, take over the bodies of shadow cats and control them. Varamir Sixskins, which I'm still very disappointed we didn't get to see in the show, controlled several shadow cats, though eventually this would fail and they would go rogue, killing several innocent people in his village. He would also use them to... Yeah, no, never mind, we're not going to talk about that. They're incredibly adaptable cats, using their black and white striped coat to disguise themselves in the mountains and the taiga. I envision them being more similar to like a black tiger, with thick black stripes covering almost their entire body, except a few patches of gray and white on their coat. Now, multiple characters encounter shadow cats on their journey. When Catelyn and Tyrion are attacked by the Hill Tribes, Tyrion takes the prized shadow cat coat of one of their warriors, which is beloved for its warmth. When they move on, Tyrion can hear their growls and screeches as they scavenge on the carcasses of the tribesmen that they've killed. Mance Rayder, the king beyond the Wall, is attacked by a shadow cat, which tried to steal the carcass of an elk he killed, and this would inadvertently begin the long journey of his abandonment of the Night's Watch. Jon Snow watches a shadow cat hunting a ram, saying that it flowed down the mountainside like liquid smoke until it was ready to pounce. Beyond the Wall, a starving shadow cat attacks Jon and his party. When Jon captures Ygritte, she tells him that shadow cats can smell blood from 6 miles away and will crush his bones and eat the marrow. Now, this is unique for a cat. No cat alive today is as specialized for scavenging as shadow cats clearly are, with their sense of smell evidently being used to smell carcasses from miles away, similar to a wolverine. If this bone-crushing behavior is similar to any feliform, it's most similar to that of spotted hyenas, mainly hunting for their food, but also having specialized teeth for pulverizing bone and getting at the marrow. Shadow cats are also described as having sharp and curved teeth, evidently similar to Earth's saber-toothed cats. While a few similarities might be there, I don't think that they're Machairodon, so like Smilodon. I think that it could be they aren't cats at all. Maybe they're the last member of an ancient lineage of cat-like Nimravids, such as Dinictus. The adaptations for scavenging may have allowed it to hold out longer than its cousins. It could also be a yet unknown offshoot of felids that isn't present on Earth, though likely not a roaring cat like lions or tigers due to their unique vocalizations, screeches, meows, and the like. To be fair, snow leopards don't roar either, so that could still be plausible technically. Their screeching calls remind me more of a mountain lion or a lynx, so maybe they're a member of Felinae, the small cats. Jon remarks that a shadow cat would be a worthy opponent of Ghost, albeit who was not so fully grown at the time. George R. R. Martin has confirmed that they are between the size of a cougar and a tiger, but that's a pretty large and undescriptive range. Large carnivores, the size of dire wolves and lions, were hunted to extinction south of the Wall, so I'd assume shadow cats to be slightly smaller. Because of this, I'd speculate them to be around the size of a small lioness, jaguar, or a large leopard. Judging by the fact that Ghost is likely only slightly above 200 pounds at this point in the story. Hunting with saber teeth is meticulous for any animal. They can easily break and shatter due to how thin they are, so saber-toothed cats would have used their grappling abilities to subdue their prey without using their fragile teeth until they made the killing bite. Instead of grappling, shadow cats have paw swipes that are described as being powerful enough to disembowel a horse. Shadow cats usually target prey around their size or smaller, though we do have one case of them hunting a horse. But usually they're described as hunting animals such as rams, goats, or even dogs in villages. So I personally think that a hunt would play out more like this. So, step 1. The shadow cat sneaks up on its prey, using its dappled coat that resembles the cracks and crevices of the mountain. So, the cat pounces, step 2, chasing its prey down and tripping it similar to a cheetah, or just disemboweling it with a powerful paw swipe. Then it sinks in its saber teeth on the prey's throat and kills it effectively. But why did the shadow cat evolve to be so unique? From their origin in Essos, likely in Bravos similar to lions, crossing over the mountains of the moon, and even into their migration through Westeros, they had a difficult journey. They may be large, but they're actually not the biggest, baddest predators around. Bears around twice the size of the largest bears to ever live on Earth, up to 13 feet tall at the shoulder. Dire wolves over 6 feet tall at the shoulder and the size of a small horse. Lions, and many more could all push them off of their kills with ease. In order to cope with this, I think they evolved their bone-crushing teeth to scavenge off of the remains of other predators if their own kills were stolen, or to avoid direct competition over fresh kills. It could also be that saber teeth evolved for a similar reason. Saber teeth may be fragile, but a well-placed stab kills prey instantly, as opposed to suffocation, which can take minutes. This would give the cats a quicker chance at getting more of their meal before other larger predators showed up. Tigers, while present in the world of Ice and Fire, are much more open to interpretation. Daenerys sees what she describes as a spotted tiger in the forests of Cahor, something that I have speculated to be more of an ancestral variety, similar to how spots likely evolved into stripes here on Earth. Originating here around Cahor, tigers would migrate east. The island of Leng is said to be home to 10,000 tigers. Tigers are also very present culturally across Essos. Tiger pelts are extremely valuable and worn by aristocrats in Slaver's Bay and beyond. Tiger masks are worn in the Myronese fighting pits, and the Tigers are a warrior party of Volantis that advocates for violence and hostility over trade and commerce. The tiger represents hostility and ferocity wherever it can be found, and nowhere else is this portrayed as well as with the Tiger Men of Yi Ti. Tiger Men are shapeshifters, being able to turn into half-human, half-tiger sentient beasts. One of the Bloodstone Emperor's greatest sins, ushering in the blood betrayal in the Long Night, was marrying a tiger woman. On another note, Syrio Forel encounters what's described as a tiger that carries its cubs in a pouch, in the menagerie of the Sea Lord of Bravos. I believe that this is a reference to the thylacine, or the Tasmanian tiger, an extinct striped marsupial carnivore, not a cat at all, found on Earth's Australia. As for where the beasts were originally from on Planetos, I think Sithorios or any large islands could be possible candidates. After all, isolation for millions of years was what produced these marsupial carnivores here on Earth. Another species which rarely appears on the pages but is offhandedly mentioned many times is the leopard. Leopards are also referred to in A Song of Ice and Fire as panthers. For example, Daenerys sees a black leopard in Illyrio's menagerie, and presumably in the fighting pits as well. One of the most interesting of A Song of Ice and Fire's leopards, or panthers, is the spotted panther of the Summer Isles. These spotted panthers are described as being larger than a lion, and I speculate them to be around the size of a large Bengal tiger. But that isn't the strangest aspect about them to me. The Summer Isles have been isolated from Essos and Westeros, presumably for millions of years. No land bridge has connected the two for millennia. Sithorios might be a candidate for where these cats came from, except for the fact that while Sithorios' wildlife is described in detail, no cats are mentioned at all, presumably what we would expect if they had a relatively recent origin in Essos. I believe that these giant leopards are the descendants of Essosi leopards brought to the Summer Isles by traders thousands of years ago. With the absence of any large cats, the leopards grew huge, similar to leopards deep in the Congo, evolving a more jaguar-esque build, but to a much greater extent. Whether or not they truly do rival lions in size is anybody's guess, but what prey required them to reach such huge sizes? The Summer Isles actually have 3 species of large apes: the Old Red Men on Umbaru, the Silver Pelts on Jala, and the Night Walkers on Wolano, or the Night Stalkers. The main competition on the islands would be crocodiles and dholes, with dholes mainly targeting ungulates and crocodiles targeting prey around the water's edge. The best ape eater on the islands would be the introduced leopards. Leopards occasionally hunt gorillas in the wild today, so why wouldn't a supersized leopard be able to make them a large part of their diet? Apes have a very slow reproduction rate, which might pose an issue, but the leopards seemingly have little effect on the huge populations of apes that are described, so I think the majority of their diet is still likely ungulates, similar to in the Congo or in the jungles of South Asia. The people of the Summer Isles would commonly trade panther cubs with Valyrian mercenaries, making it advantageous for them to keep leopards on the island, or panthers once again as they're often referred to in A Song of Ice and Fire. Perhaps they aren't even wild animals at all, merely selectively bred for larger size. While shadowcats and lions may get most of the attention, Westeros does have another more mysterious cat, the tree cat. There are several candidates for what these cats could be. Summer and Shaggy Dog, Bran and Rickon's direwolves, chase a fierce shadowcat into an oak tree after killing an elk. The cat is described as being tan and brown, only half the size of the direwolves but with a temperament to make up for it. As of A Clash of Kings, the same book where Jon encounters his first shadowcat, Ghost is about 200 pounds. Ghost is the largest of the direwolves, so I would presume Summer and Shaggy Dog to be somewhere around 180 to 190 pounds. A tan and brown cat around half that size would either be an extremely, almost unheard of large Eurasian lynx or a small to medium-sized female mountain lion. Mountain lions are offhandedly mentioned in the show, but I don't think the tree cat is a mountain lion. The cat is described as smelling musty, a characteristic of the lynx genus. I think the hypothesis of a large lynx becomes even more likely when you consider how much larger lynx look than they truly are. They have no problem standing up to lone wolves and even scaring them off from time to time. In addition to in the north, tree cats can be found as far south as the Westerlands and the Reach. This adaptability is also a characteristic of the Eurasian lynx, found everywhere from Turkey to Norway. Cats in the north, similar to the tan and brown tree cat in the books, have less noticeable spots than cats in southern regions. The cats are the sigils of several more insignificant minor houses, with one in the Westerlands, a warmer climate, being yellow and spotted. So in my opinion, the tree cat is an extremely large variety of the Eurasian lynx. The last cat on our list is of course the domestic cat. Cats have followed humans everywhere across our journey, and the same is true in A Song of Ice and Fire. No mention of cats is made before the Andal invasion, and while cats were still commonplace to keep out pests such as mice, they boomed in popularity after an epidemic of the shivers, likely spread by rats. Similar to here on Earth, some cultures believe cats bring good luck, while others see them as symbols of witchcraft. Every major city is filled with feral cats. Braavos is described as having cats beyond quantifying, and Arya catches and chases many of them in the Red Keep. The huge amount of cats in the Red Keep was caused by Aegon II ordering the hanging of every single rat catcher in the city after the events of Blood and Cheese, and needing to import hundreds of cats to control the exploding rat numbers. Lara Rogar, the wife of Prince Viserys Targaryen, worshipped a Lycian cat goddess named Pantera, and was rumored to turn into a cat at night. This could actually be possible, as in addition to her direwolf Nymeria, Arya is able to skin change into a black cat during her travels in Braavos. My personal favorite cat in Song of Ice and Fire is Balerion, named after Aegon the Conqueror's giant dragon. This was the cat of Rhaenys Targaryen, daughter of Elia Martell and Prince Rhaegar. When Tywin Lannister sent the Mountain and several other Lannister men to brutally kill Rhaenys, as well as her mother and her brother to end the Targaryen line, poor Balerion was helpless to save his owner. So what happened to him? Well, by the time the main series begins, a similar large black tomcat is mentioned in the Red Keep of King's Landing, and it's basically canon that this is him, this is Balerion. Arya catches all the cats in the Red Keep, with this beast being the only one to challenge her wits and agility. When Sansa Stark is grieving, though, he rubs her leg and comforts her. He also just hates anything Lannister related, specifically scratching Joffrey and jumping on Tywin Lannister's table to steal his roast turkey. Joffrey hates cats and takes immense joy in torturing and killing them. He even cuts open a pregnant cat and presents it as a trophy to his father, which he gets beat and severely injured for. Tommen, on the other hand, loves cats and has several kittens of his own which he loves to play with. While sitting on the Iron Throne, Tommen is more concerned with playing with Sir Pounce, Azor Ahai, Boots, and Lady Whiskers. Sir Pounce even fights off the Lannister-hating cat Balerion from hurting Tommen. So, yeah, thanks for watching my in-depth and totally unnecessary rant about Felidae and A Song of Ice and Fire. I guess this is what 15 years of waiting for the Winds of Winter does to a fandom. I'm currently working on setting up a new editing system, after the great computer collapse that happened to me earlier this year. So, sorry for the poor audio, and until next time, Gaming Hyena out.
Tiny?
And why would I do that?
Why not? Am I going to run? The hill tribes would kill me for my boots. Unless a shadow cat ate me first.
Shadow cats and hill tribes are the least of your concerns.